Well, my friends, it's really amazing to me. It's amazing to me that our congregation, Beit Haverim, we gather together in person 3 times a month, but we have every Friday night, whether it's in person or by Zoom, without fail, at 7 o'clock. But what really amazes me, and Amanda, thank you for being here, is that how many of our people come out to be with us. It's just overwhelming. And I bring this up because of something that came out this week. Came out this week from the Pew Research Center, PEW, you might know about that. They do a lot of research, sociological research. They try to understand American society and maybe beyond. And this week they were focusing on the religious community, America as a religious community. Christians, Jews, Muslims, what they do, how they act, and they published it. And you can look at it in a lot of different ways. Some ways you say it's a positive, some ways saying negative. But I'll just say a little bit about what they did say. And remember, when you call it, if you ever done any social research, it's not easy to do that. Because how do you do it? Well, you have to isolate people, you have to interview them, and they're reporting what they think, but it's hard to verify it. The proportion, this is what came out this week, this was published in the JTA. The proportion of American Jews who pray on any regular basis is down sharply from a decade ago, according to the Pew Research. A new poll on American religion, Pew Research Center. For example, in 2014, about 10 years ago, 45% of Jewish adults chose seldom/never to describe their prayer frequency. Now, when the people from the Pew Research asked the question again, 10 years later, the proportion who say that they seldom or never pray increased to 58%. All right, that is not insignificant. And the poll also found that fewer American Jews say religion is important in their lives. All right. You can read the rest of it online. You can read what they found, the statistics. But it's somewhat pessimistic, right? It would seem as pessimistic. However, it's always the way you interpret it. And if you look here on the screen and here in the sanctuary, we have about 20% of our congregation who are with us praying. Pretty amazing. That's a high percentage for any congregation. But what's more important is that not only are the people here to pray, and they do it regularly, but it's very clear that being Jewish is very important. Now you might say that is a skewed sample, because people who join a congregation by the very definition are saying that. And we can say, well, how many people join, and et cetera, et cetera. But if we just go by our own anecdotal feelings, we say no. At least with this community, Jewish identity is important. Our Jewish participation is important. Our congregation is important. And prayer is important. Now, you see, when you talk about prayer, people would say, well, what do they really mean? Does it mean coming to services? Well, yes, it could. But certainly in Judaism, we have a tradition of praying not in the synagogue, just praying on a daily basis. And of course, we could have to interview all the people that they interviewed to say why they answered the way they did. But I'm not too pessimistic about that statistic. Yes, it seemed to be an increase in a moving away from Jewish identity and Jewish participation. But I have to say, we should always focus on the positive. The positive. And we should feel very, very affirmed by how our community demonstrates its loyalty to the Jewish tradition. Every person here, and when I say here, I mean the people on the Zoom, they're here, and the people who are actually physically present in the sanctuary, they are saying something important. They're taking an hour of their week to celebrate Shabbat, to be in the community, to pray, to sing, to learn. It's a wonderful thing. So I'm not, I don't take the negative point of view. I'm always looking for that glass that's half full, and I think it is. But we want to say, we want to reach out to people who maybe are on the periphery, who, if they had the opportunity, if they knew about who we are, they would come here more often. They might join our congregation. They might get more involved. I'm looking around, seeing the people here, on the screen as well, from Mississippi, wherever they are. These are people who really care. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Now, I was also going to say, we realize that over the 4,000-year period that we've been a people, that's a long time, there's been many, many different ways of manifesting identity. Now, Jennifer is excited because in a few days, she and her husband Stephen are going to go to Israel. Now, that is an amazing thing. We know that's not an easy time in Israel, but if you're going to go to Israel, that shows a connection to the Jewish people. And whether they go there to live or go there to visit, it doesn't matter. They're going to have an opportunity to be in Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, see who are there. Half the Jews of the world live in Eretz Israel. They'll meet their friends. They might meet their relatives, because you never know who you're related to. And they'll find out what life is all about. And it'll be a pretty amazing thing. So we want to give you a good send-off. This will be the last time that we see you in person before you go. So have a great Nesiat Tova, a good trip. Do write. Email, I mean. You don't have to send any letters, because letters are a thing of the past. Email is fine. And you will be there for Shabbat. And if you're still awake, at 10, and that'll be in the morning. We get up early in the morning, actually. Get up early in the morning. Maybe you can be part of our gathering. She'll be there during the holiday of Purim. Now, Purim in Israel is like a big, big, big deal. Even in these hard times of hostages, we pray that they come home, people will celebrate Purim. Not just in their home, not just in their synagogues, but on the streets. Kids will be dressed up, they'll have costumes, it'll be great. And we'll be doing that here. So maybe you'll come in and watch our Purim. Maybe you can tell us about your Purim. And that's going to be a great thing. So photographs, phone, text, email. And when you come back, we will greet you with a special prayer for people who have come back from a trip. The special prayer we say. And we pray for a safe journey. And we give you a prayer now to Filat HaDerech that you're going on the trip. That's exciting. Very exciting. And a lot of other things are happening with us. And I was saying that the prayer that we're singing at the end is that wonderful prayer. Just take 1 minute to look at it again. Let's take a look at it again. Here it is. On page number 128, We sang today 3 of the most beautiful Shabbat songs, poems that have been set to music that were ever written, composed, all around the same time in the Middle Ages, in the 15th and 16th century. And the one that we sang at the beginning and we're going to sing at the end is the one on page 128, Yidi Nefesh. It's a prayer, it's a poem of 4 verses, 4 stanzas, each with four lines, 16 lines. And on page 129 at the bottom, one of the stanzas is there as well, Elech Hamdan Libi. It's the same poem. So there are 16 lines of the poem. And I love the way that the poet writes, because the poet writes a beautiful, very personal view of what he, I think it's a he, Askiri, thinks about God. And the first 2 words, is we call the poem after the first 2 words, says it all. Because he addresses God in a way that no other poet ever addressed God in the Jewish tradition, or maybe in any tradition. He doesn't say king, he doesn't say ruler, he doesn't say creator of the universe, he doesn't say the master of destiny, but what does he say? 2 words, Yedid Nefesh. And that really can be translated here. I don't like the translation here, it's not a good translation. Yedid Nefesh means soulmate, S-O-U-L. Nefesh means soul, Yedid means beloved friend or soulmate. God is your soulmate. It's like your closest person to you is your Yedid Nefesh. And that's what makes this poem so beautiful. It's so personal. And so later on, I'm going to sing that again, and you'll see in some of the other things that it says. And it says, this is a good translation. I leap like a deer. I leap like a deer. That's a good simile. I leap like a deer to be close to God. I love that. So we wish you all Shabbat Shalom. And now we're going to continue with our service with your help of you and all the people.